When planning your Bachelor of Communication, you will choose from one of 3 majors. You'll also select a module, which is a focused area of study around a theme. Most full-time students taking a standalone Bachelor of Communication degree study 8 courses a year. If you're studying 8 courses a year over 3 years, you will have taken 24 courses by the end of your degree. All University of Auckland first-year students take one required course called Waipapa Taumataro. This will teach you essential academic skills and set you up for success for the rest of your studies. There are 8 core courses that you need to take in a communication degree. You will also need to choose at least 9 more courses from your major and 3 linked courses to fill your module requirement. The rest of your degree is composed of 2 elective courses. These can be any courses from the Faculty of Arts that interest you outside of your major, and 1 general education course selected from across the university. As well as studying a Bachelor of Communication as a single degree, you can take it as part of a conjoint. A conjoint degree is where you study 2 degrees at the same time in less time than it would take to study one after the other. This is just a snapshot of how you can build your degree. You can find out more about our courses and degree planning on our website.
Kia ora, I'm Luke Good, an Associate Professor here at the University of Auckland, and I'm pleased to be talking to you about our Bachelor of Communication degree. And I'll start with a quick overview of the programme, and then we'll be joined by one of my fantastic colleagues, Tim Signal, who will talk about the degree from his perspective. In the Bachelor of Communication, or BC for short, you'll develop a range of communication skills that are highly sought after in today's rapidly changing world. We developed the BC in consultation with various employers and designed it to equip you with a practical and flexible suite of communication skills that will really help you stand out in the job market. So perhaps you think you might want to work in media or public relations or marketing or advertising, say. Perhaps you think you might want to pursue a career as a communications specialist in government or business or in community organisations. Well, in that case, the BC would set you up nicely for that. But even if you didn't know yet what your future career path will be, strong communication skills are highly transferable and so valuable in today's job market across a whole range of roles and careers. The BC isn't just about learning practical skills. In fact, employers told us they think it's vital for graduates to have a strong understanding of the context or the environment that they're going to be working in. So to become tomorrow's communication leaders, today's graduates have to be able to align their communication skills with the changing environment around them, understanding how communication technologies are changing from new social media platforms to the growing importance of AI, for example. And employers need graduates who understand how this fits into a world where work, the economy, and the whole of society are undergoing transformation. It means understanding the diverse cultural influences that define contemporary Aotearoa New Zealand, and especially understanding the importance of te tiriti and the place of te reo Māori. All these things are really vital for today's communication professionals in order to succeed. So, studying here at the University of Auckland, you'll be working with high-profile international communication researchers and practitioners who will help you develop practical communication skills embedded in that solid understanding of that changing environment in which professional communicators work. The principles and values that underpin our degree program are pretty simple, really. We want all our courses to be useful, to be fun, and to provide our students with a realistic but also a hopeful and positive outlook on the opportunities and challenges that are ahead of them. And we want to equip our students with the skills necessary to become persuasive and influential and successful communicators, and also to have a strong sense of the ethical responsibilities that come with that. Because communication is powerful and we need to understand how it can be used to improve the world rather than using it in ways that are potentially harmful or divisive. Now I want to bring in my colleague Tim Signal, and I want to get his take on what makes the BC exciting, unique and valuable. So Tim, perhaps you could just start by introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself for our viewers.
So kia ora everybody, my name is Tim Signal and I'm both a tutor and a technician here at the University of Auckland. So I completed my undergraduate in social sciences and then my master's in screen production here at the University of Auckland. In between doing those, I worked as an archivist, as a technician, and as a tutor across politics and international relations, film, television and media studies, and of course most recently in communication. My interest in communication lies particularly in communication technologies, especially the development of tools that are designed ostensibly to improve our lives and the potential implications, both positive and negative, that they may have on our futures.
So most of our viewers won't have studied communication as a named subject before, so perhaps you could give us a quick overview of what communication is and how we go about studying it.
Yeah, so communication is everything. But I think those of us who teach and research communication are interested in a few things. How meaning is produced in the world between individuals, between communities, between societies, between states, etc. This really is all encompassing as how our social realities are produced and transformed, but it's also about really small things, for example, our everyday interactions and conversations and encounters with media. Communication is also about power, who has it, who doesn't, what consequences that has for the pursuit of equality and social justice in the world. So this means that study communication means developing practical knowledge and techniques whereby we can deconstruct and analyse those interactions and encounters and power relationships.
So what do you see as some of the distinctive strengths of the Bachelor of Communication program here at Auckland? How do you think it prepares graduates for the kinds of skills that are needed in today's world?
Yeah, look, we don't know what the world is going to look like in 10 years, and to be fair, we don't know what the world is going to look like in 6 months. So what I would say of our communication degree is that it prepares you for a changing world. It prepares you to work with other people, to make the world better. And I also think that within the degree we have these different specialisations that will really help people who want to work on social change making, who want to get closer to the machine and work with technology, or who are really leaning towards working in leadership positions. Another thing to emphasise is it's a strong foundation in Aotearoa, in Māori and Pacific communication, in upholding and enacting te tirite and the experiences of living and being together in this place.
So how would you describe your approach to teaching? So students that are in your classes, what kind of experience can they expect?
Yeah, look, I love to discuss ideas, to get students to talk about particular takes on ideas and concepts we're covering and explore different perspectives on things. Communication itself is obviously a key aspect of classes, and our discussions are designed both to explore ideas as well as to link them back constantly to these core ideas about the way communication works or how it doesn't work. We structure each class to cover key ideas, but we allow a lot of leeway within that framework to get into the meat of things that students want to spend more time on or to get a better grip on. This allows me in turn to be exposed to different ways of thinking, different ideas and interests and attitudes, and I firmly believe that is one of the best experiences you can have at university, whether as a student or as a member of staff. We're all always learning.
And what's the one course that you would say you most enjoy teaching?
Look, Comms 318 feels like it was custom written for my interests, and I know you teach that, so I'm buttering you up, but technology futures, despite that second word, it's something we're facing up to every day of the present as well. Exploring the tech we see today, where it might be going, but also considering how its past development informs the future, it's absolutely fascinating to me. And the students get to practically experience things like virtual reality, robotics, virtual assistants, smartphones, even 3D printing. But we also cover conceptual ideas and philosophies around that type of tech, the so-called metaverse, the use of AI, the benefits and dangers of that catch-all term algorithm, the blockchain, big data, etc. And students get to produce their own videos for the final project, and the range of subjects they're covering. It's a real treat to see the approach they take to their chosen technologies, the hands-on experience, that chance to stretch their creative muscles. I think it's a lovely change of pace from a more traditional class environment, and it's lovely to be a part of it, whether it's in my role as a tutor or as a technician.
Students in the BC select from one of 3 majors, so communication and social change, communication and technology, or communication in leadership. Imagine I'm a student who's wanting a bit of advice about which of those to select. Could you give us a quick idea of what students can expect in each of those and what they could expect to gain from them?
Yeah, look, the first thing to say is, look, if I was 18, I'd want to do all of them. And it's a hard choice. And I think it's good it's a hard choice. Communication and social change, I think it has very broad appeal because I know all students, all of you out there, you have things that you're passionate about, things that you think could be better about the world, ways that you might want to bring about change in your lifetime. And so I think that major opens up to that. And as I said earlier, it's also creative, so it enables students to build on their creative interests, which might be in writing or video production or even making Instagram reels, or to develop new creative practices. But if you take the communication and technology major now, that's for people who want to really understand tech and machines in different ways. So that includes choosing some technical classes, so you would either take a little bit of computer science or a little bit of statistics to really understand things close to the machine, so to speak. But then also getting more critical perspectives, technology ethics. We have a course on decolonizing data and technology. And leadership. Look, obviously you'll be taking some classes that have to do with theories and practices of leadership and different areas of life and work, from corporate leadership to non-profit or social enterprise leadership. But I think there's also a great major for people who want to be leaders in their community, for people who want to work in organizations that have that kind of vision of themselves and the kind of communication that they want to do.
So finally, in the news today, we often hear about some of the kind of darker or more harmful aspects of communication, whether it's misinformation or propaganda spreading online. And I'm wondering, what's one thing that makes you hopeful as a communication teacher and someone that researches communication? What makes you hopeful about the power of communication to make the world a better place and to improve the future?
What's great about studying communication is it encourages us to take a really long view of those kinds of issues and ideas. So any contemporary issue we might be interested in and passionate about, understanding and combating misinformation, or campaigning for tino rangatiratanga, or protesting against everyday sexism and racism, all those things have long and complex and fascinating communication histories involving protest, activism, transformation. And studying those histories enables us to understand this complexity and to find useful strategies to make changes in our lifetime, just as our ancestors did. Studying communication is, I think, is inherently hopeful and empathic, and it's sometimes uncomfortable because it will ideally encourage us to see and to deconstruct some of our own biases, our blind spots and our privileges. In doing so, it also means communication enables us to be vulnerable, to truly share, and when we need to reshape our stories, our experiences and our perspectives.
Kia ora. Thanks so much, Tim, and thanks to all of you for joining us.
I've always been really interested in being a social change maker. I've always been very passionate about helping people, activism, and looking out for others.
I chose to study a communication technology major because I felt that it offered the best combination of the kind of communications core stuff, but also some of the more technical sides of things in terms of how digital media and that kind of stuff influences our communication sphere.
I love the practicality of it as well as the theory. You get to learn why something is important and why we need to respond to it, also along with how to respond to it.
And I think the BC, through its teaching of how a lot of different methods of communication impart on individuals, we kind of get a better understanding of how the stuff we create, the stuff we design, says things to a wide range of people, how it influences them, what kind of messages we tell. And that's really important for creating compelling visual or other stories that have a good impact on our audiences.
I feel like I've learned a lot about New Zealand through the BC. We get to do quite a few papers specifically on communicating in Māori and Pacific worlds, and as tauiwi I think that's really important, that's something I learn. Coming into university I was always really interested in diplomacy, like working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, liaising with different countries and coordinating on important things between those two countries.
I'd be looking at jobs that are kind of drawn elements of, say, design, creative thinking and technology.
The BC has shown me that there are so many more opportunities and that I could do something really creative, and that's something I'm considering at the moment as well. I chose UOA because the degrees here feel really contemporary, modern and relevant.
I also felt that a lot of the programs that it offered, such as the BC, were quite right up my alley in terms of the breadth of what they offered and also the content.
We get to study really contemporary forms of communication and use really modern technologies, and that was just so exciting to me. What I would have loved to have known in first year is you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one thing. There are so many opportunities.
And going into it with a kind of diverse mindset and being willing to look at these issues from a range of perspectives is going to really help just the way that you develop throughout the degree.
There are so many different opportunities for creativity and fun.
The Bachelor of Communication.
Learn the why and the how.